we discuss principles, um, but being that sort of relationship, you have to find someone first. So this is specifically a video for uh, the few women who are ready to be in a principled long-term relationship, how to actually choose a man. Um, because look, um, the dating scene, especially for women who are serious about relationships, about creating a nuclear family, is extremely hard right now. I understand that. Um, as a man and having a lot of friends, um, who are high net worth individuals who are getting a lot of girls who match a lot of the standards that women have. I understand the perils that a lot of girls, a lot of women go through. My little brother is an artist, right? Girls throw him at, you know, at him all the time for many different reasons. And if you do not know exactly why you get rejected and why you're in the situation you are in, it is very hard to create a lot of negative emotions, a lot of fears, and you're always going to repeat the same problem. Okay? So the first thing you have to do is you have to take responsibility and check your value. The way I like to think about this is in terms of imagine a miner. Okay, the man is a miner. He goes in there and he's digging and he's searching through the rubble and he's looking through different rocks, this one that, and then he finally comes across a rock and it's gold. The thing that makes gold gold is number one, it's scarce, which then that increases its value. It's different than rocks. Rocks are everywhere. That value is what makes gold precious. You throw all the rocks away, like you find anywhere else, that becomes precious. You want to be gold. And you cannot be gold because you say you're gold. You cannot be gold because you feel confident. There is the golden rule, right? Do unto others how you want them to do unto you, right? Treat others how you like to be treated. But the actually true meaning of that is a little bit more deeper and more sophisticated, right? It simply means that the most important part there is the way you will like. So that you need to reverse that for the other individual, the way they would like to be treated. And we bring that into value because the things that you find to be valuable are not necessarily what men find valuable. But there's also another thing there that usually happens, especially with women. I like to use this analogy of pizza. So let's say you're ordering a pizza, there's a certain procedure for food called pizza. The dough, the way it's put in place, the sauce, the cheese, the topping. One of the biggest mistakes women tend to do is they focus too much on the topping. They look at the fact that one man has pepperoni and one man has pineapple, and they say those are two complete different things. They're not even pizzas anymore. But no, you still have to recognize the fact that underneath all those layers of toppings, there is the basis that doesn't change. And for men, that is actually even more true. There are just certain things that don't change, no matter the socioeconomical level, no matter the culture. There are things that men just find valuable in women. Body count, how many men you've been with, and it makes sense because unfortunately or fortunately for you, anytime you engage in a sexual behavior with a man, you drop a certain chemical in your body. It's the same chemical that you drop whenever you breastfeed or even whenever you're giving birth. It is the bonding chemical. The more you participate, just like you've taken a drug or you've taken alcohol, whatever, anything you do more of it, you start to build resistances to it. That becomes a problem because as an emotional creature, you want to feel attached to that man. If you're not feeling attached to the man you're supposed to love and be with long term, it's gonna be extremely hard for you, right? Um, So there are certain things that our men are looking for in women that if you pay attention to and you make yourself valuable, you make sure you become valuable for the things they're looking for. When the man is sipping through all the coal and he actually finds you and you're actually valuable, he's most likely to treat you as the way you want to be treated, as a valuable thing. Something that I always tell men, I always tell women, stop asking human beings to stop being what they are. Accept men for what they are and what they'll never be to you. Stop applying this Disney propaganda that was used to sell you movies and try to apply it into real life, because you're going to continue to get the same outcomes that are terrible for you because it's not realistic. You have to put yourself in position that you are valuable to the opposite sex. This is why virginity is so important, um, for many men, and women who tend to be virgin are sought after by men because that is something that they find valuable. A woman, and when I mean that, when I say a woman, it becomes a virtue. Now, when you're a little girl and there's all this social shaming in place, your parents are there. No, it's when you intentionally choose to say, I am going to save myself for the person that becomes my husband. That's when it becomes a virtue. When you have had a lot of opportunities from 18 years old to whatever age you are in right now, 20, 21, 23, but you said no. Like, one of the hardest things for players, I'm gonna give you girls game, is to come across a woman who is basing her choices in men not based on emotions and making her like you, but based on principles. I mean, it is so hard because for any man that is dealing with women, you understand that their emotions is the key to everything. How they feel about you is the key to their to sex. Is the key to, like, the way I like to think about that is, for most men, men are looking for sex primarily. Like, just assume that, offer it. That when a man is talking to you, the thing that is driving him isn't long-term relationship with you. Most likely, it's the sexual access, right? Because long-term relationship takes work. Um, it goes also against our nature as men. We have testosterone. We are created to procreate. We like variety in a lot of things. So when you have that assumption to begin with, you put yourself in a correct place. Now, your behavior and the value you have once the man gets to know you is really what determines how a man is going to treat you. For real, for real. But also, there's another problem that you come across, and that is the idea of high standards. In the past, it used to make a lot of sense that women have high standards, right? Because a woman with a high standard, it logically makes sense that it reflects the value that she has. So the woman says, I have high standards, and then that should signal that that woman thinks that she's a valuable woman. But in 2025, in an unregulated sexual marketplace, from the stripper to a girl who's a virgin, who's protected herself, who has a father in her life, who is looking for a strong relationship, you all have the same high standards. So then think from our perspective as a man, right? You're sifting through all the girls, you're meeting them, and they're all saying the same thing. So then high standards can does not then reflect positive attributes. You just have to kind of discard that and be like, oh, every girl is just gonna have high standards. And then here's another problem. For as a man, for the girl in which you're looking at her and you're saying, I just wanna have sex with her. She has the same high standard as the girl who probably is a wifey material. So you have to meet those standards. You all want to be treated the same. And because a woman's private part, your JJ, right? The, the access to her, your private parts, is through your heart. Because you have to like a guy, we have to treat you in such a way that your heart is satisfied. And the way you do that is by treating you like a princess, making you feel special. But does not mean that the man's intentions are pure. Because the road to your vajayjay is through your heart, regardless. So if our aim is your vajayjay, we still have to go through your heart. If our aim is long-term relationship, we still have to go through your heart. It is literally the same process, right? the only person that really gets to determine um, whether the man is going to treat you truly as a valuable thing in his life, and that's what you want, right? Essentially, you want to be treated as valuable thing, not something just to be discarded, is you. It is the value in which you work through all throughout the years, gathered information about what's important to men, make sure you actually have those qualities. So then when man gets to know you and he sees that true value that is there, even though in the beginning his aim might have been just sex, your value is what keeps him there, right? And that gives you power. That's where you really get power from. Um, by determining that any man that comes across to you and the men that you actually like and want, even if their intentions for you were not were not what you wanted, what for them it was just sex, you are not depending on just the way they treat you as a barometer. You know well enough exactly what men want, and you know that you do that correctly every single day. So you don't have to guess. When a man says he loves you, he's not just saying that because he's trying to get through your vajayjay. When a man is treating you well, taking you on dates, he's not doing that just because he's trying to get through your vajayjay. Like you know that, like, look, I provide so much value that is valuable to men, not valuable to you. That's another big mistake. You can't take the things that are valuable to you and say, well, we are equal to men and we are all the same and we all value the same things. Sure, there are certain things in which we value equally, but what you want to focus on are the things that are specific to men, things that men actually truly find valuable. And really focus on that and make sure you have that in your life so that any man that comes through, he sees those value and the way he treats you isn't just what he does to get what he wants from you. It is something that you actually deserve. That's extremely, extremely big. Number two, your emotions is your strength and is your weakness. One of the biggest lies that women believe is that the way you feel about a man is this magical, unknown, unquantifiable thing that can only happen because it's destiny. Wrong. Emotions, it's a series of equations. There's a lot of books written on how to live with people a certain way to get positive emotional reaction from them. I mean, one of them is very popular, how to make friends and influence people. It literally goes step by step on how to talk to someone, how to deal with someone in such a way that that person will like you and find you valuable. So the men who are really good with women, they've already unlocked that equation a long time ago. And and because women actually believe that they are special, you think if a man can make you like him, that is specifically to you. It is not. It is not tailored to you. He is not doing something specific to you. He is doing the same thing that works for a million other girls, and it has worked for a lot of other girls. He's doing the same thing because you're relying on emotion. And you're thinking that emotion is some sort of like omnipotent, um, you know, measurement of like a man's affections towards you and what he's willing to do or to do for you, and you just put it too much in a pedestal that it does not belong there. Now, liking someone is important, but more importantly, whenever you're picking a man, is looking at his qualities, looking at the things that he actually does, look at his friends group. Like his friends group is going to tell you a lot about that guy. That is a really good way to see if a guy, for example, is putting up a front, or he's pretending in front of you to be somebody he's not. Um, a man that is principled, a man that has rules. Like feminism has taught you that a man that has rules and boundary is your enemy. No, that is actually a really good measurement of a guy that will treat you well. If a guy has principles and rules in his own life and he follows them, and he has rules and principles for the women that he's approaching and talking to, that is a good guy that you want very close. Why? Because you don't put rules and principles on something you're just gonna throw out on trash. You put rules and principles on something that is valuable to you, something that you want to keep, right? And principled men are men who've actually taken time to really think about what's important to them. And there are men who practice those principles. It becomes a part of their character. Character is very important in when it comes to choosing a man and determining that how he's going to treat you in a relationship long term. Okay. A lot of you come across the same problems, and then I hear this, oh, in the beginning he was really amazing, but then he just changed. And a lot of you say, well, like you know, once you have sex with a man, he changes. Yeah, that because when he looked at you, um, he wanted sex, like most men do. I say not 100% of all men, when they look at you in the beginning, they want sex. And then when he got to know you, you didn't offer any value outside of that was meaningful to him, right? All that you were was what he wanted. And after he got what he wanted, which was sex, he doesn't need to, he's gonna actually treat you the way he sees you now, right? Which is why it's extremely important. Like I said in the beginning, one of the best ways to make sure that you get the man that is going to treat you well is to make sure that you have the value that man deem valuable, to have the things that man actually find valuable. It's a great way for you to take power and for you to make sure that the interactions you have with men are actually in your favor. Having principles as a woman is extremely important. As I said, not relying on emotions. Having things that you actually are looking for that are based on reality, rationale, are very important because any man that does not meet those principles, they're automatically put to the side. And if you're not relying on your emotions, he cannot use the equation that he has used on all other girls to melt you like butter and get what he wants out of you, anyways. Like when I met my wife, that's one of those things. Like she had a reputation of she doesn't play with anybody. And I remember too when I first started dating her, um, I just used the equation that usually worked with most girls, right? I invited her to a really nice place. Um, Fun. I was like, hey, I would like to take you out to this place. She was very reserved, very straightforward, and she would just go like, no, uh, very respectfully. And I was shocked. I was taken back because there was no girl that I had ever invited to that place that said no. Especially a girl who I already started kind of like talking to and kind of like a little bit of friendship and getting to know each other phase. And the reason is because she had already put a principle in our head that look, I don't care about compliments. I know guys use compliments, flattery, and money and all this to try to get into my past. She had put a strong boundary there. She had her own principles. She was looking for a very specific type of man. Um, and she made sure that her value matched those principles. And the funny thing is, it's the principle that she put it in herself, principles that she was following herself, that made her um almost like anti playboy, right? Like like for any man that just wanted to just have sex with her, like there were so many boundaries there that just existed that it just didn't make sense to sort of like go through all the work just for the sake of sex. Now, for me, I was stubborn. There was a bet involved there with my friend, so I was just gonna go through it with it anyways because I was competing with my. There was a bet that I could not get her. I was like, nigga, you do not know me. Okay, you do not know what I can do. But the funny thing is, like, the more I got to know her, I actually started respecting her. Which, by the way, something that rarely happens with men. Like, man, respecting a woman, we may show you that we respect you because we know that's what you like, but deep down inside we have no respect for you because you've not earned it. Respect is earned. Like respect comes when someone is able to do something that is hard, something that is rare. So when I got to know her and I'm like, wow, this woman, number one, doesn't allow emotions to rule her. She's very cerebral. She has a set of principles that she's putting for herself that she actually follows. She's actually taking time to understand what men actually want and is saving herself for marriage. And she's like 21, 22 at the time So it wasn't just because she was young and didn't have opportunity. She was beautiful. She had plenty of opportunities. In fact, my friend had tried it and he failed miserably, and he was like, "You cannot do it." And I was like, "Okay, watch." So that actually I gained respect for her, and I was like, "Oh fuck." I know my aim was just this, was to just win the bet, but like I had to respect the fact that she had these principles, and I had to treat her accordingly. So then I had to kind of, by necessity, kind of just shift the way I interacted with her. I was much, much more gentler. Actually, there was a part of me that was like, man, I really have to take care of this girl. Right? Uh, I have to be good to her. Uh, and because it's just something that she has earned. It wasn't emotion, it wasn't anything like that. It was the value. She has so much value. I was like, I cannot lose this girl. There's no way. Right? And that changed. And at that part in my life, I had no intention of being in a long-term relationship. I had multiple girlfriends. I didn't want a child. I mean, that I was just like, I'm done with that. There's no benefit in that, especially in modernity. But this one woman that had so much value, real value, changed my mind completely. Right? We've been together now for 6 years, going on 7. Completely happy. That is, you have to work on the things that men find valuable for you to be treated as a valuable thing. Just period, end of story. And then when you're looking for that man, you have to look for men who are principled, who have some sort of principle that they're following, something that they never break. You have to look at their character, your emotions. Though it feels good, but you have to understand, like, the guys who are players, the guys who want to come there and have sex with you and just sort of like move on to the next girl, they've already unlocked the secrets when it comes to female emotions. They've already written that formula. They've already used that formula for a lot of girls. You cannot trust your emotions to determine like how genuine a man is towards you. You can't do that.